All right, guys, we have a new Rotten Mango video. Thousands of Koreans forced to play children's game to not be killed. So real life Squid Game. So act up. No. We're on YouTube, guys. We gotta be professional, okay? This is a different audience, dude. I've heard the Rotten Mango audience can get mean. So we gotta be good. Because I heard the Rotten Mango audience, man, they can be feisty, bro. That's what I heard. Anyway, let's start. My girl Stephanie Sue. Oh, this is good content. I love YouTube.
Bada bing, bada boo.
The locks come off these big, heavy doors. Interestingly enough, the locks are on the outside.
I don't know if it's
Hundreds of
too
these
loud or
doors,
it's
they
good or
open
what.
in unison. They open at the same time. And thousands.
She looked extra good today. All right, my bad.
2,000, it feels more like 4,000 people. They walk out of these different doors that have now just been unlocked. They're walking out into
She
the
does,
sun,
yeah, right?
And a lot of them are squinting because they've been inside all night long.
She looks
They've
extra
been
good today.
Trapped, essentially padlocked from the outside. And now they're walking into what feels like a massive atrium. They're staring up at the sky.
Steph is so pretty. I know, but you can't like comment on being like, yo, like she's bad, like she looks mad good. Because like, yeah, she does, but it's like she's talking about like the most horrific fucking things ever. So like it's not a good look to be like, yo, she looked good today.
Guide, they're doing circles. They're doing like a 360 turn, and all you see around you are these buildings, and then beyond those buildings, woods. It's so strange. It feels like its own secret.
Wait, they
country
even
in
wore the
middle of
Squid Game
woods.
uniform?
There's 60 something buildings.
Wait,
They're
what?
all this brutalist style cement blocks. Very unwelcoming. The scale of this place is massive. How do you even build infrastructure like this in the middle of the woods? It's dense woods. Dozens of buildings just circling the center field where they're all standing. And there's also these walls. There are some walls that are built to keep people out, and there are some walls built to keep people in. This is one of those walls. Because how do you climb 30 feet up with no grip, no help? Beyond that, beyond the wall centering this field, there's a fence just as tall, potentially taller. And even if you get beyond that, what do? You don't even know where you are. You're in the middle of nowhere. Which way do you run?
Yeah, it's
What
like
if
the
you run-
people who like defect from North Korea. It's like, yeah, you can get under the gate, but like, then what? You know? Squid Game based on real life? Yeah, how have we never heard of this? Thousands of Koreans forced to play children's games to not be killed. This is real? Like, how is this not a known thing? You know?
deeper into the woods, or you run straight off a cliff, or you run and run and run until you circle back to whatever this place is. Regardless, it would be impossible to get past all the guards. The guards are holding these wooden bats, and they're shuffling all these people to the center of this field.
Do they wear
Every single
triangle,
one
square,
of
and
the
circle masks?
3,500 something people are wearing identical tracksuits.
Like Squid
Blue
Game.
tracksuits. Think of like the Adidas jumpsuits. Their heads are shaved, but it's clear whoever shaved their heads did not care. They did not pay attention. There's scars all over their scalp.
Whoa.
And behind these people, the rooms that they just came out of is even more bizarre. Every single room is occupied by stacks and stacks of bunk beds, just rows of bunk beds, practically on top of each other. One of the people in the blue tracksuits blinks. What the hell is this place? A lot of the people gathered are minors. Some are young as 4 years old, but there seems to be no
4 years
consistent
old.
pattern to even the people that are there. There are children, there's teenagers, adults, elderly people. Everybody is wearing the
She does such a good job of like getting you interested with the overall story and then getting into everything. But like every time we start one of her videos, it's like, what do you mean? How is that possible? Does she mean this? How could it be? Yeah, but what about this? I feel like every time, you know, it's like, yeah, but how that doesn't make any sense. How is that possible? And then you get into it and you're like, oh my God.
the appropriate sized blue tracksuit without distinction. How do you even get a 4-year-old sized tracksuit? And pinned to each tracksuit are numbers.
Like
That's
Squid
what they're known
Games.
by here. Nobody goes by names. They just go by numbers.
It's Squid Games, dude.
Most of the people in the tracksuits, they look scared. Some of them remember the first words the guards said when they were brought here. This is a quote. "From today, you will abandon your rotten mentality and be born as a new human." And then there's a scream. "Hey, get down from there." Everybody's whipping around trying to see what the guards are yelling about until they see it. Over there is a man in a blue tracksuit climbing up one of the buildings onto the roof, and
He's trying.
leaps from the roof and lands straight on his head on the ground. One person who was standing right there says, "Honestly, I didn't know the sound of someone's head exploding could make such a loud splitting sound. I saw his skull explode open." A guard member just walked.
I saw a guy jump over a building once. When I used to work at a mall, I was a security guard, and some guy jumped off the roof in front of us, dude, and cracked his skull open. That happened once. I saw it. It sounds like a dense watermelon, in case you guys were wondering. Nikki the Clown, hi, welcome in, first time chatter.
Walks over and sweeps up the brains and bones.
Nikki the Clown, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Narrow City.
As if nothing has happened. And everything goes back to normal.
Here comes
Nobody
Bowser.
screams, nobody
Oh, he's
cries,
coming, dude.
nobody reacts, because
That
it's
wasn't
going to be
coming.
them next. All of this sounds pretty familiar, no? One could sensibly say that it does sound like the plot of one of the most famous series on Netflix.
Yeah, it's Squid Game.
Squid Games. But it's not. This is the...
Stephanie, baby, we love you. The show is called Squid Game, not the Squid Games. That's what my mom calls it. Stephanie, please, you do so good. Stephanie, you're too good. You're too good for the Squid Games. That's what my mom says. You're better than that, girl. Me happy watching some fun videos? Yeah, watch this one. This will be fun too. Don't worry.
real life case of the brothers' home in South Korea. The true story behind Squid Games.
I didn't know it was based on a real thing. Yeah. Vela, do you just memorize all the clips?
We would like to thank
which
today's
one's which?
sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to directly support a survivor of today's episode. The episode's partnerships have also made it
Once again,
possible
we'll
to
watch the
support Rotten
clips
Mango's
because,
growing
like, respectfully,
team. We'd
we're
also like to thank you guys, our listeners, for
we're
your
watching Rotten Mango for our own viewership, so we'll do her the
full show notes are available at
we'll do the
rottenmango.com. With
the
that
right
being said,
thing and show
business
her
involves
ads.
mentions of internment, essay, trafficking, torture. So please take a break if it gets to be too much. It is on the heavier side.
Nah, no
Another thing
breaks.
that's important to know, especially with the Olympics coming up in LA in 2028. This is going to be very important. Another thing to note
Important
is
in
this
the
is something that
Olympics.
happens
Why?
all over the world, including in America. There have been recent cases, potentially not to this scale.
Mr. Beast.
This is not an episode to point fingers at one country and throw stones from our glass homes. Another note,
Mr.
South Korea at the
Beast.
time that this took place was not a democracy. It was run by a dictator, so clearly times have changed, times are different. I mean, I don't know how different considering the recent president was just impeached. But additionally, our amazing Korean researchers and translators were actually able to travel out to some of the survivors involved in today's case to
No
conduct
way.
in-person interviews.
What?
They translated the survivor's book, The Surviving Child, written by Han Jung-san. He's going to be a huge part of the case. We will
What?
refer to him as Han moving forward. Additionally, this is a 3-part case. So in part 1, we're going to go through all the torture
She
cases
got
at the Brothers
researchers to
Home
go
Welfare
check it
Center
out?
and how it compares to the show Squid Games. In part 2, we're going to talk about what they do with the dead bodies. There were hundreds, if not maybe even 1,000. The official number is
Let me
close to
live.
600 of dead bodies left at the facility. We're going to talk about what happened to those bodies, as well as, this is a huge scale incident, as well as the salt, water, and food torture, as well as what happens to you if you manage to escape from Brother's Home. And in part 3, we go
Brother's
in depth
Home.
on the wealthy benefactors of these games, if you will. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, Squid Games is one of Netflix's best performing series.
Squid Game. It's called Squid Game. Buffy Steph. It's called Squid. It's not. There's no S at the end. That's like my mom saying, "You like those Pokemans, right?"
I feel like everybody knows this series. It's a South Korean series where a man in a suit approaches people that are drowning in debt and are at the cliff's edge of financial ruin. He has a fascinating proposal. You play a few games against 400 something other people in the same exact situation as you, and if you win these series of fun little games,
Does my mom?
you're the last
No, my
one
mom doesn't
standing,
actually say
you
that.
walk away with $40 million.
Maybe when I was a kid, but she knows me way too well to say
Pokemon.
Pokemons.
It sounds easy.
She's heard me talk
considering
about
most
it
of the
too
games
much.
played are children's games, but it's not made explicitly clear that if you lose your life. And at that point, the contestants have already entered into the game. There's no backing out. The first season focuses on mainly the shocking nature of the games, where everybody gets to know each other, they form bonds, and then they gotta backstab
There's no West. No, it's called Squid Game. It's not called Squid Games. Or the Squid Games. It's just called Squid Game.
each other, and then they have to watch each other die. But then also at the same time, if you don't die, then I'm gonna die. And it's this very stark reality. And the first season, they focus on the existence of the games and the fact that it's due to VIP clients who want entertainment. These rich people, they don't think reality shows
I didn't watch
are
season
high
2.
stakes enough. So they want to watch people fight to the death. The
The
first
Squid's
season shows
games.
Ki-hoon, the main character, winning the final prize at the end of the season. He survives until the end. He's now $40 million richer, but he's so traumatized, he just wants to know, who the hell did this? Why the hell would they even do something like this? Why does this exist? I don't get it.
Yeah, I heard season
And I
2
wanna
wasn't
put
all
him
that.
into it. The money is not worth the trauma and the anger that he feels. And if it happens, let's say
I haven't watched it all. I've seen it on stream before, but my thing with Squid Game is like all the normies who watch Squid Game is like, wow, what a concept. Wow, blah, 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 blah. And I'm always like, yeah. I'm like, it is good. But I'm like, I could suggest you like 10 animes right now with the same plot. Like, I've seen this show already in 10 different animes. But it's really good. Just for like normies. It's like anime for normies. That's how I put it.
every year, you're talking about hundreds of people are going to die every single year for what? Squid Game Season 2 is more focused on Ki-hoon's revenge. But it really starts with a piece of bread. Episode 1 in Season 2 is even titled Bread and Lottery. Just a spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you guys who wins or who dies in each game, which is the main premise of Season 2, but there are going to be mentions of certain descriptions of kind of what happens, but it's not the main plot. So just be warned. The man in the suit
I'm watching it
the
now.
main recruiter for Squid Games. He walks around the park to find people without homes that are sleeping
Oh,
on
I wanted to
benches.
watch Alice in
He
Borderland.
leans down smiling at them. He's in like the cleanest suit. Hello. You seem to be struggling. You live a life with no future. I've prepared a small gift for you today. They all get up. A gift? What is a gift?
I would
The
join.
man in the suit pushes out both of his hands. In his right hand is a piece of bread. It looks good. Food. And then in the left hand, a lottery ticket. The first man smiles. He gets up and he reaches for... No. You can only have one gift. Bread or lottery. You may only choose one. The first man chooses the lottery ticket. The man in the suit even offers him a coin to use to scratch it off to see if you won. He did not win. Oof. Seems like you lost. My coin back, please. The man gives back the coin, and the suit man moves on to do it again to the next person. He's got 2 bags full of bread from the bakery. He does not give anyone who loses the lottery a piece of bread.
Did anyone choose bread?
One person. Most people chose lottery. And you see most of
This is better because I don't have to watch the show. She'll just explain it to me. I get the pretty true crime girlie to just explain the game to me. This is like my dream. I love this.
them even almost hesitating to grab the bread. But ultimately at the end, they choose the lottery ticket. Which is-
Interesting.
yeah. And then
Well, you know what they say, right? You know what they call the lotto, right? They really said, let's go gambling. That's funny. But you know what they call like lottery, right? They call it like a poor people tax. Because like for a lot of poor people, it's like, it's the only way out. So like, yeah, poor man scam. Yeah, exactly. Welcome in, by the way, Admore. Yeah, poor man scam, poor man lottery. It makes total sense. Yep. Right. It's always, they always say it's like very, it's more expensive to be poor than it is to be rich, which makes sense. That's a side note. I'm not gonna side note that. But the side note would be like if you go to like the store, right? And you see like a candy bar and it's like $3 for a fucking like a Nutri-Grain bar. Or like a Nutri-Grain bar, right? But then if it's you go to like Target, it's like $10 for a pack of 12. But you go to Costco, it's like 40, like $20 for a pack of 40. But you're too poor to buy the 40, so you got to buy the $3 one from the fucking gas station because you can't afford to buy the 40 bars and optimize your money better. So like it's expensive to be poor. That makes sense. That's a completely different note from the gambling. But sorry, just an aside.
Once he's through with all of them, he goes to the center of the park and he still has 2 full bags of bread.
And we wonder
Sure,
why extreme couponing was a show.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the TTS. I always forget that I have that. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. Like, dude, I had my mom's friend used to do that. And they were like rich. They were like the rich family. But the mom didn't work. She would just coupon all day. Dude, they would have like pantries full of crazy food. And she would be like, I spent $9 on all this. And they'd be like, what? Like, that's a real thing. Like, that was her job, basically. It's pretty fucking impressive. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Oop.
Stack of lottery tickets still has 2 full bags of bread and a much lower stack of lottery tickets, and he throws all the bread onto the ground. They're packaged in plastic from the bakery, so all the park goers, they start approaching him. They're confused. They want that bread. Why are you throwing away such good pieces of bread? You could give it to us.
That bread looks good.
The
A Korean
smiles,
bakery.
and he stomps on a piece of bread before the man can reach for it. I gave you a chance, and you made your choice. Listen, everyone.
The suit guy's
I'm
kind
not
of
the
hot.
one
Am I
who
wrong?
threw this bread away. It is you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, he starts stomping all over the bread in the middle of the park. He's grunting. He's stomping with both of his pristine loafers till the bread explodes out of the plastic packaging and
he's
splatters
crazy.
onto
Yeah,
the ground.
suit guy's hot. Yeah,
Then
the
very
power
slowly,
dynamic.
tucks
Yeah, just
his
like
head
the reason I
back
like
and
feet.
fixes his lapel, smiles and walks
I
off.
mean, I like
It
the
all
power
starts
dynamic
with
of feet.
bread in
Not-
real life as well in South Korea.
I like what they imply.
14-year-old Choi is walking home from school when this
I want to be the bread is a crazy
rips
comment.
his shoulder, drags him into the alleyway. And there's a man staring at him, a middle-aged man. Did you steal a piece of bread?
Yeah, not my mouth.
What?
I specifically want feet in my mouth. All right.
Did you steal the piece of bread from the store? The adult man rips the backpack off of Choi, rips it open, and there's a piece of bread in there. It's just leftovers I had from school. I didn't steal any bread. Leftovers from school? Where the hell did you get this piece of bread? Tell me the truth. By the way, this is from Choi's account, first-hand account. Like I said, I had leftovers at school. You're lying to me. Where the f did you get this, you little punk? Where did you steal it from? Which store? 14-year-old Choi is too ashamed to tell him, sir, I'm poor, okay? I take home the bread from school so that I can eat it for dinner. But also, why do I need to explain that to this random man in the alleyway? This back and forth goes
So this
on
is
for
the
what
real-
feels like
the real live
forever,
version.
and this man just keeps smoking cigarettes. He's lighting the cigarette, blowing it in Choi's face, lighting another one. Where did you get the bread? Lighting it, blowing it. Where did you get the bread? Over and over and over again. Why is this man stopping him out of nowhere, screaming at him about a random piece of half-eaten bread? Things start blurring together, but Choi says he will never forget that moment where he is standing in front of this strange man, fully naked, and there's a cigarette in that man's mouth, and the man grabs his lighter, holds Choi's private parts, and starts holding the lighter underneath it.
Whoa.
What? In the alleyway?
Yes. He flicks it on. The flame almost makes contact. Tell me again, you stole the bread, didn't you? Please just let me go home, please. Tell me the truth then. I just want to
Damn,
go
to a
home. I didn't
kid.
steal anything. Things have been disappearing from the local store. It must be you, right? I saw you coming down the road. You stole it and you ate a piece of it, didn't you? Didn't you? And now the flame is touching him. It's burning him completely
Holy
on his
shit.
private parts. If you tell the truth, I will let you go home. It's not the truth.
And he's naked.
But what else is Troy supposed to do? Okay, fine. I stole it. I stole the bread.
That's we're not gonna get into a whole discussion of whether or not torture is like a if it should be allowed or whatever by like military stuff. Like like Guantanamo Bay and stuff. But that's coercion. Yeah, forced confession. That's the problem with like that's like the whole like debate over whether torture is okay or not. Because at a certain point, someone will just say anything to have it stop. Yeah.
From where? The market up ahead. That's what Choi tells him. That's what he says. From the market up ahead, I stole it. Okay, are you happy? You should have just told the truth sooner. I mean, look at you. You got beat up for nothing, didn't you? Stay here and wait a second. Choi is putting on his clothes back when the man walks off to make a call. And within seconds, he comes back, holds Choi down, and in a few minutes, a white van starts speeding down the empty road and screeches to a halt in front of the alleyway. It's one of those refrigerated trucks that you transport, I would imagine, refrigerated goods. You know, the back is like a windowless.
It's crazy they got this guy's first-hand account. Isn't that her just reading the case files? Like she got the actual guy.
And slams it shut.
That's crazy.
It is completely pitch black inside. There's not a single window. There's no light penetrating, nothing. It's even blocked from the driver's side. They can't see anything. He's panicking. He's trying to ask, hello? Is anybody there? Where am I? You can't just do this. Nobody responds. He says he waits until his eyes are adjusted to the dim light and he's rubbing them. And then he sees like a glowing orb, like a tiny little marble, just like glowing. Then another one. And he's squinting and his eyes slowly adjust and he said, children's eyes, floating, staring at him.
Whoa.
At least a dozen kids slammed into the back of this freezer truck. If you are kidnapped in a windowless van, it is very important that you listen and you try to figure out where they're taking you. The 20 pairs of what looks like floating eyeballs now, they seem to be arranged by height, but that doesn't make sense because why would the kidnappers kidnap from shortest to tallest? I mean, why would they do that? No, it's because they're going up a hill, a steep hill, and they've been going up it for the past 30 minutes. It's not even clear if this is an authorized road that they should be driving on. It sounds like branches are hitting and scraping the sides of the van. In another
this is very like
minutes,
Holocaust-esque.
The floating eyes, they slide to one side and the truck slams to a halt. The door slams open and the flashlight is shining in directly. Everybody's trying to block it.
Those
it's
real
nighttime
pictures
outside. They're so confused. And there's a handful of men holding large wooden clubs. They're reminiscent of baseball bats, but they're not. They're more primitive. They look more painful. There's little spots of red on them, like blood. They're solid and they're massive. According to one victim, the men scream, "Hey, you nerds, what are you f***ing for? Get out and get down now." One by one, they jump out of the white truck and they're so confused at what they're staring at. It's nighttime, but they know that they're in the middle of the woods. There's trees everywhere. It's dense. It's not even the kind of forest that you do a little hike in. It's very unkept. But that's not even the alarming part. It's the fact that they're in the middle of the woods and they're standing in this massive structure, a compound. I mean, there's rows and rows of cement buildings, all uniform, uninviting. It feels like some sort of camp with 60 or so buildings, and they're all
labor camp.
Like
I'm saying it feels very Holocaust-like.
And all the buildings go up around it.
It's crazy. There's this huge like infrastructure here, and like people don't know about this. Like these kids didn't know about it. Like obviously this is before cell phones and stuff like that, but I feel like, or internet, but it's like I feel like this is something that like people would be like, oh, watch out for the local whatever. Like but who knows how far they went up and Jesus Christ.
Open field in the center that they're getting ushered into.
It's like a stadium, right?
Yes, like a stadium setup, but instead of bleachers and chairs for you to sit and watch sports, buildings. So think of the scale of this. It's like a military base. That's what they said it feels like.
Right, that makes
in
sense.
the middle of nowhere.
Where is the
Might have been known for powerful people. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good question.
Train to Busan?
Yes.
The waterside city?
Yes,
Oceanside?
it's on the very
Busan.
southern part of South Korea.
I know that from Train to Busan. Yeah.
Now the setup of this massive
The zombie
compound
movie. Very good
is similar to
Korean
that of
zombie
an
movie.
arena
You guys
which
never saw it.
gladiators would fight. So they're all getting ushered into the center field, which is just like flat, sandy land. And the kids that are quick enough to try and plot an escape, they're like, yeah, it's not happening. The walls around this place, around the buildings even, are 30 feet tall. There's no grip. There's nothing that you can hold on to climb 30 feet tall walls. And on top of that, there's guards with wooden stakes posted around the perimeter of this place.
Wait, so there's like a circle wall on the very outside?
So there's a circular flat field, and then
Open
around
field.
it are buildings that go up, about 60 different buildings, and they go up and up and up, and then around those buildings are another 30-foot wall.
Wow.
You're just trapped. It's really like the opening scene of Squid Games where they open the top and you're just stuck in the hole in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
It feels like that. The kids who aren't quick enough to plot an escape, they don't even know what's happened when they're all dragged to the center and their hair is just getting chopped off. It's the first thing they do. It feels random. It doesn't matter if you have this neat bowl cut or long hair that goes to your waist. They're grabbing chunks and cutting it almost
Wow, it's all
intentionally to make
kids,
it look
man.
bad.
Holy shit.
It's weird. It doesn't feel utilitarian because if you have long hair, the best, fastest way to cut it would be to grab it in a ponytail and then chop, right? But they're taking chunks and cutting it at varying heights. It's very weird. Once the kids' hair look like they've been run through a cheese grater, they make the kids stand at attention. Stand up, back straight, look here. And there's a bright flash. They're taking pictures, just like in Squid Games. Each person that enters takes a picture that looks more like a mugshot. The children are forced to hold a plaque with individualized numbers. It'll say like 82, 9, 21, 67.
Again,
From
very
then
Holocaust.
on, nobody is referred to by their real names.
When you say children, like how old? Are they only taking children's there?
So this place has about 3,500 plus people at any given time. That's not including the people that die there. But there's about 1,000 children. So these are minors. Some of them are as young as 4. Most of them are teenagers. I would say 12, 13 seems to be the age that they get taken in. Some are 5, some are 7. And then you have a lot of young adults, 20s and 30s, and then a small portion of elderly people. Now, we're going to go through a lot of the children's stories because they have since grown into adults.
Right,
And
that's
if
what
they
you can get,
survived, they
yeah.
have come out to try and get justice.
Again, like Holocaust survivors.
When was this?
This was in the 80s and 90s, so a lot
This
of the
is fucked.
survivors
Yeah.
that were taken
80s
as
and
kids are
90s. It's not
40s and
that
50s.
long ago.
Wow. Okay.
Like it feels like something that happened like, oh yeah, in like Nazi Germany, like the 50s or 40s or whatever. But no, this is like 30 years ago. It's not, that's a blip, dude. There might be people in chat that are, you know what I mean, around that age. Like it's fucking crazy to think about.
Everyone will be assigned a number, and that is what you will be referred to here on out. Not your name, your number, just like Squid Games. The men with the wooden sticks, they hand out a pair of clothes to each person. It's a blue tracksuit, identical blue tracksuits with new numbers on each one. Everyone, listen up. You're going to take off your clothes, be strip searched, and then you will put on your new uniforms. Give me all of your clothes, your
It's
old
all
clothes
males
your
too, no
belongings. From now
females.
on, your only true possessions are this blue tracksuit and another blue tracksuit that you will wear when this blue tracksuit is being washed, which is not that often. If the zipper breaks, you're going to have to make do because you're not going to get a new one. When the winter weather hits negative degrees, you're not going to get another one or an outer layer. This is your new
Winter
life.
weather, so-
Every
yeah.
child then gets sorted into the correct warehouse.
So who knows how
or
long.
one of the massive cement structures that they saw.
History
coming
doesn't
in.
always repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it. It's also what George Lucas said about Star Wars, but
Which, side note, it's dawning on a lot of them. That means if all the structures are filled with people, again, you're talking about thousands of people in blue tracksuits. I don't know if they're prisoners. I mean, what would you even consider them right now? What is
Right.
even happening? Once they get sectioned off, they quickly realize the entire place is run like a military.
and an armband.
Each building is called and
Like the
considered a
Holocaust.
platoon. There are platoon leaders,
Like,
room
that's
leaders.
gonna come up a
There's
lot.
this established hierarchy, but technically they're just guards. They'll open the door. Who the hell is screaming in here? Shut the hell up, 24th platoon, lights out. If you don't shut up, they'll come in there and they'll beat every single one in the platoon. Each door is slammed shut and locked from the outside with a giant padlock. And the very first night is very terrifying for a lot of the kids. One survivor says, I just knew that I was trapped. Unable to go where I want, I was terrified. We all spent our first night in extreme fear. They're not allowed to talk to one another. Otherwise, the so-called platoon leader, the guard, will walk in, grab that wooden stick, and slam it down on someone's head. So most of the kids are just laying there with these floating eyes open, scared, until the military alarm rings at 5 in the morning. It's very clear in the morning which kids have been here a while, because once that alarm goes off, they jump out of bed. They're folding up their blankets in record speed that I don't even think the military can achieve. The blankets have to be folded military style with perfectly sharp corners and placed at the end of their bed. The new kids, the ones with strong survival instincts, they're just looking and trying to figure out what to do. They're trying to fold it, just no one's helping them. Nobody told them what to do. They're just trying to fit in. The other kids, they're crying and asking, what are we doing? Why is there an alarm? Hello? Why won't anyone talk to me? Why can't I go home? Hello? They get beat. Once a head count is done in the room, all the kids are ushered into the big field, the courtyard in the center of all the buildings, and another head count is done. They're really making sure nobody escapes. Then, once your platoon is called, you have to march in sync to this one building called the washrooms. You got 7-year-olds that have never done this before. They don't know why they're here, where their parents are, and they have to march in sync, otherwise they get beat. In the washroom, you get 3 seconds of water. Your face wash, salt. Your toothpaste, salt. Your toothbrush, your finger.
3 seconds of wash time?
3 seconds of water. So you scrub the salt all over your skin
Oh
and
my
you use your
God.
index finger to rub your teeth and gums with salt.
What the
And then
fuck?
they will only turn on the water for 3 seconds per group.
To wash your face, mouth, and everything
Yes.
in 3 seconds.
But if one child falls behind, even if they were just brought in last night, they get dragged to the corner of the cold washroom and they're beaten with sticks. And nobody says anything. Nobody tries to stop the guards from beating the new kid because they don't know what's going on. They get beaten until they're in a fetal position on the cold washroom floor begging for mercy. And it's very clear why nobody stops them. Because if you look at anybody in a blue suit, all of them have pestering wounds everywhere. So it's very clear to them,
Right, they've
hey,
all
if I
been
try to
beat.
stop you from
Yeah.
getting beat, nothing changes. The only thing that changes is that instead of you
there's
getting
no
beat, we'll
point.
both get beat. That's
Right.
it. That's the way of life in this compound. One survivor says, violence always comes first. Words are unnecessary, even if they say stand up straight. They don't mean stand up straight like a normal citizen. They want military level attention from a 5-year-old. How many of us would know how to do that? If we're even a little bit slow to react, they kick and hit us. Every day, the guards will ask the terrified tracksuit wearers something along the lines of, okay, now do you want to play a game?
What?
They have games at Brothers' home.
They're forced to play?
Yes. Squid Games. The premise of the show is everyone in the game will participate in 6 different games over 6 days. Those who win all 6 games will receive a handsome cash prize. Interestingly enough, like I said, all the games are childhood games. They're not particularly the most mentally or physically taxing, at least not on the surface. But sometimes it's luck, like the Targona game, where you have to cut out the figure in the hard candy. Or theoretically, you have some very simple games like red light, green light, where
Right.
you have to run or walk towards this finish line when the doll in front of you is screaming green light, and then it turns around and says red light, and you better stop moving because you will get shot if you're still moving. If you lose your balance, if you trip, if you fall, you're gonna get shot. Or recently in season 2, they had this one game where the contestants get teamed up into groups of 5. They have to run across a track and play 5 separate mini games that have to be completed before going on to the next mini game. So it's mini game, you run, mini game, run, and you have to complete this whole track within 5 minutes. Now, the premise of this, though, the hard part, is that they're all tied together. The 5 people, your right leg is going to be tied to your partner's left leg, and your left leg to the other partner's right leg. And if one of you trips, you're all going to trip, and it's all about being physically connected, because if you trip, you lose so much time and you're going to die. The games in the Brothers' home are just as intense, and I would say just as high stakes, if not more so than Squid Games.
I could not
Obviously,
do the
you know,
cookie game. I almost feel like that's like the hardest one in a way. One bun named Lola. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to New York City. Yeah, I'd fall. There's no shot. I wouldn't survive Squid Games or Squid Game. I'd fall on my ass with the red light, green light. I feel like that one I would be okay. Cookie game is a fucking nightmare. I'm not dexterous like that.
Fact that Squid Games is fictional. But the guards, they instruct the children and others at the
Hi, Bun
compound,
Bun. Welcome
all 3,500 of them. Create the Han River Bridge right now. Each 50 people are told to line up side by side. And then they have
I'm
to
doing
turn.
okay. I
So now
appreciate you.
your face is facing
Damn,
the back of
Lizzie. I
somebody's
could
head,
do red light, green light,
and
even
someone's
with a
looking at the
broken
back of
back.
your head. Then you get down onto a push-up position. And then in unison, each person has to lift their legs and rest them on the shoulders and back of the person behind them. So your legs are being supported by the persons behind you, and then your hands are on the ground.
Yeah.
It's maybe 3 people, it's easy. I don't even know if it's easy with 3 people. Maybe 10, it's easy. But it's 50, a human centipede formed by 50 humans all leaning on top of each other. And the bridge has to
It
be
sounds
held for
near
at least like half an
impossible.
hour.
Holy
long
shit.
enough for all the guards to take turns walking across
Bro, I can't
the
plane for a
quote-unquote
minute.
Han River Bridge.
What? Is that something that just the guard made up, or
It's like a childhood game. But you don't do it with 50 people. You do it with a few people. And the stakes of the game are if you
No, I mean, sorry, side note. Is that her fucking bed? What size bed is that, dude? That's an insane bed, dude. She's living good, Stephanie Sue over here. All right, side note, my bad. Alaskan king size? Dude, that shit's crazy, bro. That's a wild ass bed. Sorry.
fall, you all giggle. But if you fall here, you get beat and sometimes to the point.
I've been wondering that the entire time.
This is
Yeah, that's a
something that
crazy
created by
bed.
the guards or by like the higher up for entertainment for the higher ups?
It seems like the guards.
For fun.
Yes, for fun. The survivor Han, who authored the book, says, "We had to use all of our strength in our arms and waist to maintain balance so the team leaders, the guards, wouldn't fall. If they fell, everybody goes down. Onto the floor, they're just laying there, stomped on, beaten with wooden bats. I mean, none of these activities are real games. They're technically games because a lot of them are childhood games.
It's made to fit a
but other
family
than
of 4 on
that,
one
it's
bed.
not a game. A game would
If
imply
not
there's
more,
a winner and a
damn.
loser. In Squid Games, sure, it could be argued that most games don't have a clear winner, but at the very end, the winner walks away with tens of millions of dollars. The game's stakes at Brothers Home is if you win, you
Get to
get
stay
out
alive.
with maybe just a few wounds
Ah,
from that game. If you
you don't-
lose,
right.
you could lose your life. The so-called games are just straight up punishments. The guards would ask everyone if they wanted to play games, but like I said, they're not games. They'll stand and gather everybody in the bunk rooms and scream, "Hiroshima." Every single person in that cramped warehouse-like room is gonna stand up, climb to the top bunk, and hang themselves upside down with their legs hooked over the side of the top bunk.
Why is that Hiroshima?
You know how you go upside down on monkey bars?
Yeah.
Dangling head down. Now hold the pose. The rules of the game are simple. Don't get up and don't fall. And if you do, you get beat and possibly die. One survivor says, kids who were new had the hardest time. They would cry a lot and their faces would get swollen from the rush of blood. Others would collapse because they're fainting. Not even because they can't take the pressure in their ears anymore. But if you fall from that position because you fainted,
You're gonna hit your head,
it hurts
yeah.
a lot. You
Yeah.
land on your neck. Which,
Yeah.
side note, a lot of people have become permanently disfigured, permanently disabled, and or just completely paralyzed.
Yeah,
because of other
especially, fuck.
the game
Especially,
is
yeah,
made
from
even
fainting. You,
more
don't- you, don't- you
twisted
can't
by the
land
fact
yourself.
that when you're upside down, they'll go around randomly hitting people on the stomach with the wooden stick. And it's random. It's not even like you fell or you're groaning or anything. It could just be for no reason at all. They said the anticipation of that random hit to your stomach when you're upside down and staring at everything from that angle, it kills you, the anticipation. They say, quote, "There's no way to express the terror of not knowing where the guards would hit when your vision was pointed downward like a handstand." Another sick game is called the kimbap roll. It's a rice roll or blanket rolling.
Yeah,
which sounds
kimbap
like it
is
would be
good.
easier of the so-called punishment games, but it's not. Barely anyone walks out without a concussion. The guards will roll the blanket out, slam you down onto it, and start rolling it across the floor. So now you're in this burrito of a blanket. If you don't crunch your core immediately and bring your hands to cover your head,
You're not
in
gonna be
time,
able to breathe.
You've lost the game. Because the second the blanket rolls, they start kicking you, beating you, stomping you. They say they kick you like they're kicking soccer balls at the World Cup, but it's just your head.
Jesus.
One survivor says, if you don't curl your body up as much as possible, your intestines could rupture. Or we've seen people with arms and legs that break in that game. You could also end up with head injuries. And cavalry. Cavalry is one of the worst games. It's more of a battle than anything. They get 2 blue tracksuit wearing people, sometimes from the same platoon, same room. They're forced to fist fight each other until one of them is on the brink of death. The game does not end until at least one child has a broken nose, a few broken missing teeth, and or a concussion. It's like a horrific battlefield for no reason that would even remotely make sense. Other games include taking on stress poses. One is where you start with your feet on the ground. So imagine you're just standing on the ground. Then you bend at the waist And you keep bending and bending until your forehead touches the floor. So you're in this upside down V shape. And the 2 points that are touching the ground are your forehead and your feet, which doesn't seem that bad, but just like red light, green light, if you move even just a little,
Hi,
if you move
Manny.
any
Yeah,
shake
we're watching
because you're
Ron
getting
Mango
tired,
videos.
they will
This is our new
step
one.
on you. They'll step
Welcome
on
in.
your lower back, your butt area, putting pressure onto your skull that's already digging into the gravel. And you're in this position, this stress pose, for an hour. It's not even 5 minutes. They say it's a very unique type of unescapable pain. Another variation consists of being on your knees on the gravel, like you're about to pray, and then lowering your forehead to touch the pebbly, gravelly floor, and your hands are behind your back. If you move, the guards will come and stomp your head down onto the floor. But the hardest stress position, according to multiple survivors, so remember the first one with the upside down V?
Mm-hmm.
They said when they really want to torture you, you don't put your forehead on the ground, they shove your nose into the ground. It's called the red pepper powder, because the minute they even press you a little bit, it's just blood everywhere. And it goes
Red
into
pepper
your nose,
powder.
it goes everywhere. Then there's another one
And there's
called
no way
motor
you can
vehicle.
breathe like that.
And it's just you standing in front of a guard and they say, motor vehicle, and they'll shout, left indicator. Like turn on your left signal. But you don't really do anything because it's not really a game. They just whack your left eye with a wooden bat until it's swollen. Sometimes the games are less creative. They'll put wooden sticks, soak them in salt water, and hit the back of people's calves or the soles of their feet.
Why they soak it in salt?
So once you hit somebody's skin with a wood stick, you're going to break the skin open. And this is soaked in salt water. So
Right,
now
it's gonna
just gonna
fucking
be extra
kill.
painful.
Oh my god. Okay.
One survivor says, how does it feel to get hit with it just once? I mean, your knees automatically buckle. After that, it becomes bearable because you lose all feeling, at least in that moment. One survivor says, once one of the guards hit me so hard he broke my 2 front teeth. And you know what they said?
또 난다. 뽑으면 된다.
They grabbed a string
No, they'll
and
pull him
pulled
out.
out the rest of his remaining teeth one by one.
Oh,
And
shit.
I guess these were his adult teeth, but he does not have a single tooth to this day. He doesn't have any
Wow.
teeth.
Whoa.
이빨이 하나도 없어요.
Oh my
This was all
god.
part of the games in the compound called
He
Brothers.
said I have no teeth if you're
Unlike Squid
listening.
Games, there's no winning. There's no nothing. There's no grand cash prize at the end. There's only losing or losing your life.
Right.
One survivor, Han, again, the one that authored the book that our researchers met up with, he said, there's one particular memory that haunts me. Someone in our group was having an epileptic seizure. The guards thought he was faking it and started beating him with a
Yeah, he was
wooden
probably having a seizure from getting hit in the head constantly like that. Yeah. River Escalin, welcome in, first time chatter. But yeah. Yeah, they're probably getting seized from like being starved basically and bad conditions and being whacked in the head constantly. Jesus Christ.
bat. The boy regained consciousness and grabbed the guard's leg, begging him, please stop, please, I'm sorry, begging for forgiveness. But the guard was upset. He continued beating him and bang, beat his head with the bat. And then one last, quote, he kicked the boy's head like a soccer ball. The boy collapsed, his eyes rolled back into his head.
You killed the kid?
And when they rolled back, they were unfocused and blood started oozing out of his skull. His body was dragged away and he was never seen again.
Yeah,
That's
he's
what
dead,
happens
man.
when you lose the game. One survivor says, I
Jesus.
saw people being beaten to death. I saw someone frothing at the mouth. The fear that if I make a mistake, I could be beaten to death was intense. It was all consuming. And even if you survive the day, there is no guarantee that you survive the night. One survivor who was taken in when they were 10, by the way, they say at night there were a lot of things that were happening that shouldn't have even happened during war times. At night, when we were all sleeping, you could hear screams. Women screaming and being dragged away. Young boys being forcibly ripped from their bunk beds. The guards were essaying them at night.
Ugh.
One victim states, it was so painful, I had to literally crawl back to my bunk. Another survivor,
Oh
he
my
was
God.
15 when he
Dude,
was
it
kidnapped.
always comes back to that, right? Doesn't it always come back to like SA? Always, dude. People are fucking the worst, man. People are.
He says, I was subjected to all forms of brutal abuse and was essayed daily. Every night, I was essayed by the guards. This lasted for more than 4 years. That's how I grew up. I don't even know how I survived. Another victim, Choi, the one that was accused of stealing the bread, he said, one night, one of the guards stripped off all my clothes, washed me in cold water, ordered me to lie down in the bed, and I was so scared. That night, the guard essayed me so bad I was bleeding everywhere. It was excruciating. He was essayed almost nightly for the next 5 years by the guards, multiple guards at a time.
난 너무 무서웠는데
I was so scared. The platoon leader raped me so bad. I was bleeding from the bottom.
너무너무 힘들었던 거죠.
It was
That wasn't the
excruciating.
worst part. He said the worst part was later, a few years in, he was in the cafeteria.
Years
when he saw
in.
his brother. And he says, I saw him and I didn't know what to say. I just had tears streaming down my face. I could see him struggling to adapt to the brother's home, and it hurt me so much that I could just only walk.
Or his
from
brother
afar.
like just got in,
Is he
maybe.
younger or older?
A little bit older, but still a child. The mental and physical damage that was inflicted on me was something I could never imagine. By the time that he turned 19, he only weighed 80 pounds. Another survivor states she didn't really know exactly what happened to her because she was so young.
Oh, so there were
says,
girls?
The guard ripped my clothes off, then he tied my legs to the bed. I didn't know what yet, so I didn't even know that I was being essayed, only that it was like the most painful thing. You hear the so-called guards say things like, this one's pretty, and then you'll just hear someone getting dragged away screaming.
Whoa.
Han says, one of the guards asked me to come over, so I went to him. He was naked, and he asked me, do you know
I
how
didn't
to
realize there were females.
I thought he was naked because it was hot and it was summer and we don't have AC. I didn't understand anything because I was so young. When I hesitated, he angrily cursed at me. Hey, you son of a...
That's
I asked
heartbreaking,
you
yeah,
if you
man.
know how to... Off, you son of a... Just a string of curse words. Han screamed, thinking, I mean, if I don't respond or help him cool down, he's gonna beat me. I'm confused. I don't know. I have no clue what this man is saying. He screams, yeah, I do. The guard is just laying on the bed and he orders Han, then do it. Han writes, as soon as he said that, I ran back to the shoe rack. I grabbed the slipper with the guard's name on it and I clapped the slippers together. So the translation, the slang for off, especially in the dialect that Han uses because he's from a smaller town, the self-pleasure slang kind of sounds like the word that he uses for slippers. So he was like trying to cool him off by clapping the slippers together. He was just frantic. He didn't know what to do.
Right.
And the guard thinks that Han is mocking him. So he grabs the slippers, starts slapping him across the face repeatedly, then forces him to lay face down,
River.
spits on him, and essays him. Han says the guard just kept screaming, you're trying to mess with me, huh? And he starts violently beating him while violently essaying him.
How old was Han then?
He was probably 14. Han says the pain was so severe I couldn't even breathe, let alone speak. I could hear what the guard was saying and see how he was hitting me, but I couldn't defend myself at all, and I could barely breathe properly. The whole time it was happening, I only had one thought, that I would kill this somehow, no matter what. I mean, I had no choice, though, but to grit my teeth and endure this. Sometimes they would commit the essays while other kids are there, just frozen, eyes clenched, because
Jesus Christ.
they don't want to be next. And in the massive compound, they have a psych ward.
You have to like
which
watch.
sounds
There's
like
not
they
much you
care
could
about
do.
the people in there, enough about their mental health.
Welcome in,
Not
Rain,
really.
Kitty Bear.
I mean, you were taken
Hi.
into the psych ward if you could not be beaten into submission. You would be drugged 24/7 and still beaten and abused in the psych ward. Even in the psych ward, one survivor states she saw the guards every night. They would drag patients away. One
How
patient
are
at a
you?
time.
We were watching like the real life Squid Game, which we did not know there was like a real life version. It's pretty horrific. So, content warning, but otherwise we're okay.
It'd be like 3 guards on one patient. The survivor was 10. She says, if a woman vomits, I just knew that they would take her to the basement. The implication being she's pregnant and they force a termination.
Oh my
But she didn't
God.
realize that when she was 10. And she says, now that I think about it, I feel so sorry for those people. If I had known then, I mean, even if I knew, I wouldn't have had the power, but I could have at least tried protecting them, right? Saying
Nah,
not to
but
do
there's
that to
nothing you
them.
could do, man.
That's what my heart hurts the most now.
All right.
One survivor says, I was a child with a home and parents and siblings. I just couldn't understand why
Yeah,
I
they
was
were
there,
pregnant.
why I was trapped in a place like this.
But yeah, side
Survivor
note, I know
came-
if you watched the Faruta case from that we watched last time, the Junko one, did they mention it? I don't know if she mentioned it in her video, but I watched my own like documentary on it afterwards because I was interested in they also found out like when they did the autopsy on her, she was pregnant as well, which makes sense. They said they found like a ton of, male stuff inside of her, but yeah, she was also pregnant when they killed her. Want to drop it and send some love. I appreciate you, Rainy. Ren. I appreciate you. If you didn't see the Junko Furuta case, you know, Ron Mango has their own version on my YouTube. There's a why you call me? You can call me Rainy. Yeah, Rainy's not bad. Rainy it is. I also did my own like another one of these like react videos on my YouTube as well. If you want to check that out, but or if you want to just check out obviously Ron Mango's original. Yeah, we need a little BTS, dude. Break up the fucking. These are all. There's never gonna be a good one. They're always miserable. But Jesus Christ, maybe the Yandere girl would be a good one.
Was left paralyzed from these games and stuck in that mental institution for years.
Oh yeah, we can't
After
even
one
walk
particularly
right.
brutal beating by a bunch of the guards, he says, they had me tied up and smashed my head onto the concrete. When I woke up, honestly, I was so shocked. My left arm and leg wouldn't move at all. And to this day, they don't.
Wow.
He was labeled as crazy, thrown into the psych ward, where he was forced to take every pill that they wanted to give him. He says, quote, whenever I took those drugs for about 10 hours, I was in a complete daze. If I tried not to take it or tried to spit it out,
Something they were
one person would squeeze my
experimenting.
nose shut and the other person would pop the pill in my mouth and just pour water down my throat. They were forcing him to take the pills via waterboarding.
Yeah, waterboarding. Yeah, I was
He
gonna
says,
say.
I ended up becoming a real psychiatric patient. They drove him crazy. He says they treat humans like animals. If you don't listen to the guards, you're beat on the spot. I mean, if there was a hell, this place was it. Brother's home.
It's so crazy this hell happened. Like I've never heard of it, and I'm sure Chad, you probably never heard of this either. It's so crazy. I feel like this is something we would have heard of. It also, like, I keep saying it, but it's like it reflects so much Holocaust stuff. Like it feels like they're experimenting with drugs on them almost. You know what I mean? Opens your eyes to a lot, dude. You're right. I've never heard of this. You'd think you would though. I also want to know like what's the end game? Like what is the goal here? What is going on altogether? You know? Like what's the point of this? Just entertainment? Like what is it? It's not like Hitler's Youth. You know what I mean? Like what is going on?
You're beat on the spot. I mean, if there was a hell, this place was it. Brother's home is a place that doesn't even begin to make sense. I mean, even their medical procedures don't make sense. If someone has a cut, an open cut,
I think it's just twisted
because they
entertainment.
have a
That's what it
medical
feels
wing,
like,
a building.
right?
You go there and they rub salt on you. A disinfectant, they say. The survivor said the guards would just rub salt all over us, roughly, which made all the wounds so much worse. One of the worst incidents a survivor witnessed was...
This is far
one
worse
man-
than Squid
well,
Game.
Other than death was one man got caught on a wire in the field and his stomach had split open. His intestines were pooling out.
Ugh.
Do you know what they did? This is the survivor asking us. They brought the salt. They rubbed salt into his open
Oh
stomach.
my god.
The place feels like it exists merely to torture thousands
Holy
of people in tandem. But
shit.
how and why? I mean, even though everyone is starving, living in the worst conditions, it still costs something to run a place like this.
Right.
So someone must be funding it or something. For what reason? Nothing makes sense. What the hell is this place? All the survivors say we felt like animals in the compound. We were not treated like human beings. We could not behave like human beings. We couldn't do anything. Thinking in there is a luxury. Everyone only has one thought. I don't want to get beat. I don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day a guard walks in. Attention! Look over here. Everyone stands at attention. They're looking. If one of you eats this, there will be no punishment games today. Everyone's squinting. What even is that? And they're looking, and he's holding up this leathery-looking substance. It looks scary. One survivor says, snakeskin. It was snakeskin. You know, it's interesting because we were so hungry, we would eat centipedes. You know, pine cones and pine needles. We would eat those too, but apparently snakeskin was too much for us. So it feels like so many moments, nobody says anything, until a little boy steps forward and his voice is so calm. Team leader, if I eat that, will there really be no group game punishments today? The guard nods. And the little boy walks up, grabs the snake skin, and lets it slide down his throat. And everybody thought, well, that makes sense. If anybody in this platoon was going to do it, it was going to be that kid. That's why his nickname is Cannibal. He didn't earn that nickname for eating the snake skin. He earned that nickname because...
Don't tell me. Don't tell me they made him eat one of the other kids. Please tell me it's like just he eats everything. He'll eat anything. Please tell me he's the weird kid on the bus that'll eat like a fucking that'll eat like a snail for like $1, for like a quarter or whatever. You guys all had those kids, right? You guys all had that kid on the bus? You know what I'm talking about. You guys know that kid. Okay, sorry. Fuck.
When everybody was cleaning the bunk rooms, the warehouses, they have to clean it every day as well. He saw this baby mouse sleeping. The baby mouse was so young, the eyes weren't even open yet. And he immediately just snatched it and gulped it down. He ate the mouse. And everyone stared at him, and he just responded, it's good for the body.
Wow.
And they all looked away, and the name cannibal just stuck. I mean, what can make a little kid so desperate that he would eat a mouse like that? Why don't they just let him go? Why even bring him here in the first place? What is the purpose of any of this? Why are they running this place? Where are they getting these people? In the very first episode of season 1 of Squid Games, the main character, Ki-hoon, is approached by this very clean, sharp-looking man, Suit Man. He just seemingly, at random, approaches Ki-hoon. This is the man who is bread stomping, by the way. They're sitting at the subway station.
The hot one, yeah.
Hello, sir. Can I
Protein,
have a moment of
right?
your time? I don't believe in Jesus,
Like,
please.
it's meat. It's better
That's
than
not
nothing,
it.
right? At that
Today I
point.
wanted to offer you a great opportunity. Kyun points a gun at him. The Suit Man, with no fear, puts his hands up. Kyun pulls the trigger. It's a lighter. Listen, dude, I come from a family of
Hi,
babies.
Nazi
Don't
Dress.
piss
How
me
are
off
you?
and just
Welcome in.
please leave me alone. Sir, would you like to play a game with me?
I wish you were citrus. I like
What are you, a
citrus.
salesman? God, you guys have such unique tactics these days. Look, I get it. You're just trying to do your job, adjuster or whatever, but I just don't have time and sit here and listen to all of this. Suit Man opens up his briefcase to show a blue folded up paper, a red folded up paper, and stacks of cash. Sir, have you played takji before? It's a Korean childhood game where you fold papers, you smack it down on the other party's folded paper
Gotta, like,
on the
flip
ground,
over,
and you try
right?
to flip it.
Yeah.
Every time the Suit Man loses, he will give Ki-hoon, the main character, $100. For every time the main character loses, the Suit Man will slap him across the face. At the very end, Ki-hoon, the main character, has traded in his dignity for a few $100s, while the Suit Man seemingly knows everything about Ki-hoon's life. You've been divorced for about 3 years. Your daughter is 10 years old. $110,000 owed to loan sharks. Another $170,000 owed to the bank. Who the hell are you? The Suit Man hands him a business card. Just a phone number on there. Call me. We don't have many.
Ron
slots left.
Mago's high key
That's how Ki-hoon
fire. I
lived.
listen to this when I'm in the shower. Dude, I would be. I have a friend who's a teacher and tells me, and she like, she have a friend who's a teacher who tells me she like teaches little kids, and she listens to it on her way to work before she goes and teaches the little kids. So I mean, like, yeah, some about like the true crime stuff. The way she explains it too, it's like you can get this anywhere. Like I'm sure if I looked it up, like, I didn't know about this case, but there's cases, whatever. But like, first of all, the way she speaks to you, but she's also speaking to her husband, which makes it feel like you're having a conversation. And like the way you can tell she really cares about the situations and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I think she just explains things so well. Besides what the content is, she's very good. I would listen to her talk like you're part of the combo. Exactly. And like her husband's great too. Like, how many times like it's happened to me. Like how many times do you have a question in your head or I ask it out loud and you're like, I wonder this. And then you hear him be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like he asks the questions like as the viewer, because she's done all the work. I like that, like, it feels like he goes into it not knowing anything about us. Right? Plenty of us true crime growers are perfectly saying thank you. I believe it, I guess. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he gets no info. He's probably told so she can explain it to him so he can ask those questions. I think it's really good. I think her format is fantastic. I think she's really great.
Main character gets into Squid Games. A man approaches him at the subway station. If you're out of toilet paper, the next best option.
She's very ASMR
What?
voice. She has a great voice.
Or paper towel, or maybe a scrap of fabric. Just good old plain water probably works the best. Near the end of alternatives of good for you toilet paper is newspaper. But did you know that if you rub 2 pieces of newspaper, like you're trying to create a force of static, the newspaper gets soft enough to wipe your butt? It is the type of information that you only know from firsthand experience of using newspaper to wipe your bottom.
Right, you
as
wouldn't
well
know
as the
that.
fact that sometimes the morning headlines will be imprinted onto your butt for the rest of the day. But back then, in less populated areas
silly
of the
putty.
world and in South Korea, this was what was generally used. Newspaper. And 12-year-old
You guys ever do
John-
that? You guys ever do like silly putty and you put the silly? I just remember that. That's like a childhood. That just unlocked a core memory. You take like the silly putty, you know, like that little goo that was in, like the egg, and you put it on the newspaper and you pull it off, and it has like the newspaper on the inside of the pulls off the ink. Yeah, right. Silly putty. That just unlocks such a core memory for me. I don't know if I'll. Yeah, right. That's crazy. I just thought of that. Sorry, side note, but
His dad was a luxury salesman of sorts. Because
yeah,
he sold
right.
toilet paper. And
Yep,
that's
it's
not an easy
bouncy.
job because
Or you get the
everybody's
glow in the dark
people in
kind and
space.
stuff.
Newspaper just works fine, okay, you little sleaze. Stop trying to sell me your scam. It's not a fun job. Wiping hygiene is not that advanced yet. Everyone feels like he's out to scam them.
Yeah, the
And
glow in the
only
dark kind, the
purpose
glitter
Jung's
kind.
dad is doing any of this is because his 12-year-old son Jung. Everyone in the neighborhood.
My favorite thing to
tells
do
Jung-
was just press it into my hand though and pull it away and see all the marks from my hands. Yeah, all your little like your palm reading lines and stuff like that. Yeah, your palm lines. Yeah, man.
Jung and his dad. One day, your son could be president. He was top of his class. He just had this charisma and humanity about him that all the neighbors said, if you were president, this country would be a way better place. That is until he vanishes. He is one of the serial child disappearances in the city of Busan in South Korea. It seems like every week another child is going missing. Sometimes they're 5 years old, other times they're teenagers, other times they're full-blown adults. People are just disappearing.
I
A
can
few
remember
things are
what's-
certain with each disappearance.
Yo, what are you doing,
Commonalities
crazy?
include a child or person vanishes.
You good? You all right, buddy? You have cats. If you have cats, you know what it's like to just hear a random bang. And I have 2 cats, so I'll. Oh, yeah, you know, yeah. Like when you go to, you try to go to bed and just like, boom. You're like, what did you guys do? And the craziest part, I feel like 9 times out of 10, when you hear a random bang from a cat, you get up to go find out what it is, and you don't see anything. Right? You don't find anything messed up. And you're like, what the hell? It's like, what did you guys knock over? I don't see anything on the ground. Onyx does that? Yeah. Rhyme does that too. Right, buddy? Luna's an agent of chaos? Dude. Oh, cat. Sorry, dude. I'm allergic, so they really want to get close to me. They know, dude. Cats know. Yeah, they know. There would be a bang, and he would walk over to me like he didn't do anything. You're all nice, like, hey, dude, I didn't do nothing. Rhyme is being rambunctious? Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what you want. You know what it is? I hear boom, and then I hear like, it's really cute. I hear his little paws running away. Like, what did you do? I just hear like boom. You little rascal rhyme. Classic rhyme. Classic rhyme. Okay.
Typically at a subway station, Busan station most of the time. And 2 men approach them at the subway station, and they're well dressed. Kids, we need to talk to you about something. Could you come here for a moment? Or sometimes, you poor thing, you look lost, I could help you. Then they vanish. So the first thing uncovered about the 2 well-dressed people, you know how in Squid Games it's the man wearing the suit that asks if you want to play a game? Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, in the real-life version, the 2 men approaching and talking to the kids that vanish are police officers. But why would police officers be kidnapping kids to bring them to a torture facility?
Oh, man. It's
The
always.
bids open every 4 years, technically.
Oh,
Every
man.
group sends in their proposal. If you
No,
let
take it
us
off.
be the ones to facilitate the games, we will spend billions of dollars. At least $10 billion. Some of us will even spend like $40 billion. One year, that number was like 45 calculated for inflation. Each group more or less competes to see who will have the honor of overseeing the games. Billions of dollars are spent to see people compete to see who wins, who comes out on top, while everybody else watches. Welcome to the Olympic Games. Which, okay, side note, despite it being a financial hellscape for most host cities, there are still fighting bids to continue hosting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love watching the Olympic Games.
I don't understand the Olympics at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. The fucking participants get like nothing out of it. It's all for sponsors. The city that gets it gets like demolished. They're always like in debt afterwards. I don't understand the. I don't know. I don't get why these places look for the Olympics and stuff like that. I never understood it. I don't get it. You're very chill, good background noise while I'm working. I'm glad. Thank you. I appreciate you. You really just listen to Ron Emanuel and me going, wow, every so often. But if that works for you, I'm glad it does.
Look forward to the Olympics. I think it is a very clear representation of the physical and mental abilities of far superior human beings and a constant reminder of how winded I get after coming up 2 flights of stairs. I also really enjoy the fact that it's like the only time Americans come together, but it is almost a migraine and a half
Not
to
even
host.
true. I don't think.
The International Olympics Committee requires a minimum of 400,000 hotel rooms available for visiting spectators, and an Olympic village that is able to house 15,000 athletes, referees, and officials. If you don't have internal, external transportation facilities to bus people there, to get them on the train to go there, you got to build those. Let alone, you have to build the actual facilities that the Olympic Games will be hosted in. There is the argument that maybe it's because there's
Oh, side note about the fucking Olympics. This is like a stupid side note, but like almost every year there's like a big outbreak of some STD because they're all banging, which makes sense. It's like all these great athletes, all these like attractive people from like around the fucking world all get together and blah, 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 and they're all fucking. It's like, there's more fucking than like a furry convention or something like that. Yeah. So there's always like a big outbreak of like STDs at all the Olympics. I saw a video once of somebody who like changed their like Tinder location, made himself like a hot athlete, and put himself in the Olympic Village, and like got so many matches from like other Olympians and stuff like that.
hard value. So hard value is direct profits from hosting the game. How much the games itself brings to that city and the tourism associated directly with the games. Then there's soft value, or like the trickling effect of global sentiment. Maybe your city was not on the map, but now everybody knows your city's name because you hosted one of the Olympics. And
Like
now everybody knows that you guys have train stations.
Like when I was in Russia and they gave like barely gave him mattresses and stuff like that. Remember that? I don't really care for the Olympics. I don't watch it. I like the Winter Olympics better. I think the sports are more interesting in the Winter Olympics. I like the luge. I like the curling is cool. I like curling. And I like hockey. Like in general, I like hockey. So I get really into the hockey part. Like that I'll watch. That I'll get excited for. Like USA hockey. That's cool. And it's not the Olympics, but the World Baseball Classic. I'm a big baseball person. And the World Baseball Classic is basically the Olympics for like all the different players from across the world that get together and make teams. But like Team USA is not just like the best MLB people. It'll be like if you have Japanese players on your team, they play for Team Japan. It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Are you a Yankee fan? I am not a Yankee fan, no. No, I'm a Met fan. That's why I'm born with like innate loserdom in my soul. Yeah.
So they're going to go visit you more often. Or like the Beijing Olympics, for example, it said that many residents, they had so many new train routes that were created that are still being heavily utilized today. But there are benefits, especially for actually US cities benefit a lot from the Olympics. So for example, 2028 Olympics will be hosted in LA. LA will likely financially be okay with
LA's already a hellscape. LA is like a zombie city. Like they're out of their fucking minds. I don't watch sports games. Yeah, I like sports. LA's already a fucking like fentanyl fucking zombie Night of the Living Dead fucking like shanty town. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but
hosting. I mean, I do see a lot of people in LA. We're still upset, but most of the major sporting arenas and the infrastructure
LA is on fire.
already
That's
in
true.
place.
It is literally
there
on
are
fire.
World-class stadiums and facilities all over LA. Their biggest expense will likely be fixing the public transit. And there's also another problem that they might have to deal with: the population of people that are unhoused in Los Angeles.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
Recently, in 2024, Paris hosted the Olympics.
Stephanie. They're homeless. We don't gotta call them unhoused. They're homeless. Side note. But what the fuck is the difference? Love you, Steph.
Olympics, and there were news reports that Parisian officials were going around Paris and clearing out the encampments. They were bussing out unhoused populations with little to no support. They were sending them 250 miles away to a neighboring town to make sure that all the foreign tourists did not see the unsightly people.
Yep.
Which, I mean, obviously that's not what the Parisian authorities have claimed. In fact, they denied doing.
Actually, I think it was San Francisco. This is crazy, right? So San Francisco, the people, I think it's San Francisco. Let's pretend for argument's sake it's San Francisco, but it's somewhere in California. The residents there have been fucking clamoring and arguing and like begging to like clean up the fucking city and the homeless problem and the drug problem and the tents and all that stuff for months and months and months. They're like, what are our fucking taxes going towards, right? For months. And then I want to say it was like the leader of China, I want to say, visited. I could be wrong, but I think that's who visited. And they fucking, within like a night, they cleaned up everything. And then all the people were like, yo, what the fuck? So you've had money to do this all this time. What the fuck? Like, and their answer was, I shit you not, like the politician, like the mayor of the city was like, well, when you have visitors, you clean up your house. When you have guests, you clean up your house. And I was like, fuck you, we live here. What? Sorry, side note, but that's wild to me. All the people that, and you know how much taxes are in LA or San Francisco or anything like that? You know how much money those people spend to live there for whatever God reason? I mean, they all live in fucking Texas now anyway. They all moved out. Yeah. When you have guests, you clean up your house. Okay. Great.
That they say, actually, we were offering people free housing, which technically they were. People were bussed out of the city 250 miles away, given temporary housing, and the second that the Olympic Games were over, the temporary housing disappeared.
Yep.
And now they're left wandering 250 miles away, confused.
Yep.
But this has been the trend during
in
the
a
Olympics.
random town, and
One
that has to deal with
expert
that
says
now
hosting the
also.
Olympic Games is an inequality machine. Most cities find ways to, quote, dispose of their unhoused population. It's not just Paris. Atlanta, Moscow, LA in the 80s, they're all the same. One man without a home in LA was interviewed and said, before the Olympics, it wasn't bad. Now they treat us like dirt. One LA police captain told a reporter as he was scattering unhoused people to less visible parts of town, we're trying to sanitize the area. A lot of cities are in it for economic growth, but maybe 40, 50 years ago, hosting the Olympics was more so for a symbol of pride. It's showing that your country is doing well. At least that's what it meant for South Korea. 1988, the Olympic Games will be hosted in Seoul, South Korea. To show you how big of a deal this is the first time, okay, that the Olympics are going to be.
Or, wait, is this whole thing so that they could like find the strongest kids to like make into Olympians? That can't be what this is, right? That cannot be what this is. Melody, they cleaned up and moved out the migrants when Kamala visited the border in Texas, I believe. I think that was in 2022. It was the last term. It was disgustingly common for governments to clean up just for their image and not for the people they are supposed to serve. Yeah. Dude, I'm so I hate performative empathy. I hate it, dude. Do I say it? I'm not talking about whether or not I like her or not, but with the fucking AOC picture crying in front of the migrant border, dude. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. And her stupid fucking right outfit. It's so fucking performative, dude. I hate it, dude. I hate it, dude. Shit like that, dude. I hate performative fucking empathy. I hate it, dude. I had a friend, without getting into details, I had a friend killed. It was like kind of a big deal. It was a very big deal. It was newsworthy. I can't explain why it was newsworthy, but it was newsworthy. My friend got killed, and actually 2 of my friends were killed. And I was at the what is that called? When you like a vigil. I was at a vigil with all the candles and stuff, and me and my friends were all there, and like the town, everyone was there. It was a whole thing. And I literally watched this fucking like senator or something show up in like a black whatever car, legitimately take a picture in front of have someone come out, take a picture of them in front of the fucking vigil, and then get back in the car and leave. I promise you. I swear to you. A special like place in hell, dude. Special place in hell, dude. Yeah. I don't like political parties. They all suck if you have to put a label on yourself for what you think is the greater good. Yeah, it's just fighting back and forth. Like, and at this point, I go on not to get politicky, even though we always seem to. But I'm just tired of like those guys are bad. These guys are bad. It's like you don't become the president, governor, whatever the fuck AOC is. You don't become. You might be on the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. You're not the leader of just the Democrats. You're. It's like, okay, that's your party. You speak for Americans, right? That's who you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? You're not the. Trump is not the. He's not the president of the Republicans. Biden is not the was not the president of Democrats. No, you're president of America, dude. Like causing the discourse, the whatever, the fighting between people. It's all performative, man. It's all just to get us against each other. I hate it. I can't. I'm so tired of it, man. I'm over it. It used to not be like that, man. It used to not be like that. It used to be like it's. I think it's starting to go back the other way a little bit. I think. I hope. But like, it used to be like, and I have my friends too now. Like some of my best friends are like on their viewpoints are different than mine, and we can sit and talk, and then it's like, cool, let's get a drink or whatever. It's like whatever. But like, I know people who have lost family members over this shit, and friends, lifelong friends over this shit, over who you fucking voted for, dude. Enough, dude. It's all bullshit. They don't care about you. They don't care about us. No matter how much he wants to get up there and fucking blah 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 blah. I'm for you guys to work, or the other guy wants to get up there and be like, "We're the one of empathy," and blah blah blah. No, they're not, dude. They all suck, dude. They all suck. I'm just so tired of it all, dude. Sorry, complete side note. I'm just like it's so tiring, and I think a lot of people are very tired of it also. I heard a funny quote once, and it was like a Republican leaders will fuck you over and then look at you in the eye while they do it, while a Democrat will fuck you over, but then cry with you and like, you know what I mean? Pretend they're going to be the ones to help you or something like that. But either way, they're going to fuck you over. That, again.
Be hosted in South Korea since the country is founded. Foreigners are coming on a mass scale for the first time. It is the perfect opportunity for Korea to show the world what South Korea is. Now, side note, this is Korea in the 80s. It's not now. You know, back in the 80s, there were no cute aesthetic cafes and color theory appointments. South Korea was scoffed at by most countries. It's like a tiny little plot of land way far out in the east. How could they ever possibly dominate industries like tourism, electronics, music, and slowly even movies and shows?
I want to go to Korea
This is
so
before
bad.
all of that. South Korea needs to make a statement. There's widespread propaganda that they got to put their best foot forward. So one way that describes how important this is, think of it like this. There's two families, sworn enemies. They take a blood oath. They hate each other. It seems like this feud is never going to end. And all they do every day is send each other balloons, and they absolutely, without mercy, will fight each other if they need to. Everyone in the whole area practically knows that these two families hate each other. In the beginning, family A has a massive chip on their shoulder because family B has always been richer than them. They just always have more resources. So family A works really hard to show the world, you know what? I don't care about family B. We're doing so much better than family B, actually. Now we're going to have this once in a lifetime gathering where all of the people are going to come. Some are our friends, some are family B's friends, some are people that are just watching in between. And we have to show them that we're okay and that we're doing better than family B. Family A is South Korea and family B is North Korea.
So you're saying a lot of it is stemmed from, you know, North and South. Okay.
Yeah. And they need to have this grand old party, host the Olympics. And I will say the way South Koreans unite during tough times is probably one of the more admirable things I've ever seen. I mean, I don't really see other countries coming together like that during times of grief. Recently with Jeju Airlines crash, but also with the impeachment of the president, the way citizens would order food for protesters. They don't even know. They would make orders at restaurants near protest sites. So they would post it online. You go in and you pick up free food.
Wow.
And then afterwards, the citizens that couldn't make it to the protest, they went out to clean up the debris. because it's a bad look if you protest and you leave trash, then the police might try to make you not protest. So a lot of Koreans really want to make this happen for South Korea. And I will say, this could be a big rumor. But at the time, which this is no longer the case, South Korea is really safe. Well, most parts. South Korea had a big pickpocketing problem back then. Really big. And there's this rumor
Like
that
Rome
all
now.
the pickpocketing was organized crime. They're run by gangs. Back then, there was a rumor that all the heads of the gang met up before the Olympics and agreed that they're not going to pickpocket any foreigners.
Oh, wow.
And there was not a pickpocketing problem that Olympics, and it was really decreased that month. But one thing the citizens
That's like in, if you go to like DR or you go to like these island country, like these islands, DR, or like Bahamas or whatever, Jamaica. If you go to these areas, like if you ever drive from like the or go on the bus or whatever from like the fucking the airport to like a resort or something like that. Hi, by the way. Like it's kind of scary driving through there, right? But I know like they don't fuck with tourists because like they, from what I understand, they get like it's extra harsh punishments if you fuck with the tourists because like their entire economy runs on tourism. So if you fuck with the tourists, so they'll fuck with each other and stuff like that, but they won't fuck with you. You know, at least that's what I've been told, and that's like been my experience when I've gone. I've never had an issue, even from like shadier areas and stuff like that. Like they won't fuck with the tourists because if like you get arrested for fucking with a tourist, like, and that shit hit like American news, something like that, like you could taint their whole fucking economy, right? So like, yeah, that's what that reminds me of.
can't really help with is the environment beautification work. That's what it's called. Anything that doesn't look good for foreign guests, clean it all up, including the people. Clean up the unsightly humans. Just like what LA police captain said, they need to sanitize the streets. So who are these people? The government categorizes them as vagrants. That is an outdated term. It's actually pretty derogatory and might even be considered an official slur in a few years. But it is...
Really?
I can't not use it in this specific legal
How's it
setting.
going? We're doing
Not that
okay.
this is a legal setting, but when it was used in a legal setting, if I replace
Vagrant
the word,
is a bad word.
it would lose the full meaning. It's not just semantics, okay? So the word and definition for vagrant is it's how people are being pulled off the streets. So the government wants all quote unquote vagrants off the street. The definition for vagrants is a person without a settled home or regular work who wanders from place to place, typically lives by begging. That's how they get their food and form of payment.
B Morningstar, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Neo City. How's it going? Yeah, we're doing good. We're watching this not fun video, but it's being explained well. It's highly interesting.
Which is already quite problematic to want a chunk of the human population hidden away so that you can host the Olympics. But now the government behind closed doors is asking, well, if we want to get rid of the vagrants and we want to arrest them and take them away, how do we do that? Like, how do you know if someone is a vagrant? I mean, the scale of coordination that would entail, because to be that definition, a few things have to be true. You know, you have to be without a settled home, you have to be wandering from place to place, and you have to live by begging. By definition, they can't just beg in one place. They cannot just not have a home. They have to do all of these things. They have to travel and beg. It's a combination, you know? But the government is like, how are we going to track that? We're just going to follow one person from town to town and then arrest
sounds
them?
like
That's not effective.
gypsies?
Well, let's just change the definition. The new qualifications of vagrant include drinking in public. What if it's an
Oh, you mean like when they changed the definition of vaccines? Sorry. I didn't say that.
outdoor patio of a restaurant? It's technically public, you know, but you're allowed to drink.
Isn't gypsy a slur? I don't think so. Is gypsy a slur? They're gypsies, aren't they? Using the term gypsy as a slur, approving or encouraging exclusionary mechanism directed by Roma on the... What the fuck is this? Is gypsy a slur? In the U.S., it's usually considered a slur, but in the U.K., gypsy traveler population prefers gypsy. So they call themselves gypsies. My mother's a gypsy culture. I've heard it used as a slur, but she doesn't consider it that. I'm gypsy? So is it a slur? I don't think it's a slur. I think it... All right, my guess is it's like Jew. I assume it's like Jew, where it's like, if like they're called Jews. You know what I mean? But if you're like, the fucking Jews, I'm getting fucking canceled. But I don't think that. I come from Jewish heritage on one side. But if you, people are like, don't call them Jews. I'm like, they're called Jews. That's what they're called. But if you use it like, oh, well, you're being, it's the context of what's said and how it's used. That's what I would think. Yeah. It can be used as a slur, so better not to use it. Nah, I'm going to use it. I don't care. You know me by now? I don't. People try to blanket policy it, but there is so much rhetoric. I'm not being rude. Isn't gypsies people who travel around and do that kind of stuff? Right? They're like nomadic. I'm going to say it. I don't. The only person who could tell me not to say it is Not Citrus, because Not Citrus is here and just tell me she's a gypsy. Otherwise, I'm not going to be tone policed. Moving on.
What if it's like that? Or sometimes this isn't allowed, but some people will drink in the alleyways.
I don't really care. All right, we're saying it, dude. We're back. Let's go.
Friends after the convenience store? No, vagrant. Also, if someone makes a scene at a bar, drunk, take them in. Vagrant. Matter of fact, anyone...
Last one. I just got the G word pass, guys. That's the last joke, I swear. All right, go on. Welcome in, dude. We're not being rude. We were talking about words becoming slurs. I remember being told not to say it or something vague like that. Yeah. Like the phrase getting gypped. Yeah. You don't got to do stars, Calico. I'm not soft. It's okay. Is actually racially connotative and super negative. Yeah. Like sitting Indian style or that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't need the stars. We're good. We could talk about stuff. I don't care. That's more for Twitch and others than you, Paro. I'm going to write it. Gypped. Okay? Now we're all good. Now we're all safe.
Someone who looks like they've gone several days without shaving their beard, they look unkept, vagrant. Do you see why the haircuts are important now?
Oh my god, they want to make them look more unkept.
Yes.
Wow.
Wait.
The biggest one, sleeping at subway or train stations or on the train.
Wait a minute. Is this all to get the kids off the street or these people off the street during the Olympics? So South Korea doesn't look bad? Is that the whole thing here? Are you fucking kidding me? But then why make them look worse? If they didn't look bad enough, then why make them look worse?
On public transit. Okay, not to get all nitty gritty about things, but what about people who fall asleep while waiting for their train or taking a quick power nap while the train is moving towards their destination, like they're commuting? Yeah, vagrant.
Who's making these rules?
The dictator at the time. In fact, if anyone watches TV at a train station or a bus terminal, count them in as a vagrant. What do you mean watching TV? Even for a second? Even if they just glance at the TV? I mean, the train stations themselves put the TV up on the train stations.
Yeah, what the hell?
Vagrant. If they had a home, they would watch TV at home. So if the police,
Right, 5-year-olds making
given
it
all these
trashy.
definitions and told to capture all the vagrants, if they went around checking off even just one of these things, make someone vagrant, glancing at a TV at a train station, I mean, they would have to arrest the whole train station by the new definitions.
What's on her chin? A star, bro, because she's shining out here, dude. Make them look worse so it's clear they're transient. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm too much of a girl. I've been eyeing that pimple patch for a hot minute. Hey, let her rock, dude. She's a star, dude. It's because she's a superstar, okay? We're not calling her out. Look how pretty. She's pretty as hell, dude. Yeah, she's the star ones are cute. Yeah, she's pretty as hell. Oh, I've actually wondered this about pimple patches. I have a question. Is it just to cover your pimple, or do they have some kind of like healing benefit? I've actually wondered this. Would rearrange? Oh yeah, 100%. They help clear them faster? Oh, do they? Okay. See, I didn't know that. I've always wondered that. I do like I have like a whole skincare routine. I do my toner, I do my essence, I do my serum, I got my cream, I got my eye stuff. Okay. I got my thing. I just didn't know if the king, yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah, you gotta have good face care so you don't look old, dude. I'm white, bro. We age like milk. Starface is more cosmetic.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have a bunch of angry people. You're going to have that husband calling, this person's wife calling, this person's dad calling and screaming at you like, how dare you arrest my loved one for no freaking reason at all?
Yeah.
This is not okay. People will come with pitchforks to the police station. So the police will end up taking in 0 people. So the government set up this incentive, a reward system. Each police officer gets points for each person that they bring in as a vagrant. And now there's incentive to bring people in. But again, you can't just round everyone up in the crowd and bring them in because you want bonuses, okay? They need to bring in people that won't cause trouble. They can't accidentally bring in the pastor's wife or the mayor's daughter or
Kids,
the
random
businessman's
kids
son.
and
They have to bring
elderly.
in people that won't be missed, or even if they are missed, guess what? Their loved ones have no power. What are they going to do? Complain to the police about it? We are the police.
What are they gotta do?
So
Arrest me?
these are not disclosed to the public.
No, the public, they think vagrants are
Agent don't
horrific
raisin? That's
dangerous
true, dude.
criminals. Like they've been told, hey, we're just going to clean up the streets of people who are harming you.
But instead, they're taking like every single person.
They're just taking a kid that doesn't have a financial background or a family that are wealthy, like village kids, small town kids.
I see.
People that don't fit those categories, they think that the government is going to rehabilitate these people and provide help. More or less, the citizens, because of ignorance, they think it's okay. And those people who don't think it's okay, they have no power. And the police are just bringing people in. In Squid Game Season 2, the suit man, the recruiter, says, clearing and incinerating the bodies of countless people like you, Mr. Song, the main character, these things aren't human. They're just trash. They have no purpose in this world. But is it a cycle? Because by treating people as subhuman, putting them in the brother's home in subhuman conditions, how do you expect them to still act human after?
Daddy salesman? Yeah, that's what we've been saying, dude. The suit man is hot, dude, obviously. This gives me motivation to yell ACAB outside the police station I live near. Updates if I go to jail soon. Lock her up.
Afterwards. And I'm not saying that as my social commentary. Han, the victim who wrote the book, says, I was once a human, but I became an animal in the brother's home. At the brother's home, rather than learning to live like human beings, you learn to cower around powerful people, struggle to even get a little bit of soup, and plot to escape being hit. It's like living in a barbaric era, like animals. 12-year-old Jung, the son of the toilet paper salesman that was kidnapped, he would do this thing where he would use the restroom, and for a brief moment before reaching the handle for the door, he would close his eyes, take in a breath, and pray for a portal to open. When I open this bathroom door, it's not going to be brother's home. It's going to open into my home, and my dad's going to be there, and he's going to be cooking something, and that's what's going to happen. And then he would open the door, and nothing would be there.
Yeah.
He's still in hell for the
Jesus.
next 2 years. Until Jung looks up one day, and standing in the middle of the field, there he is. The man that he has been praying for years to come, the one that's going to save him, get him out of this hell of a place, his dad. He's about to break out into this full-blown sprint and jump and hug his dad, maybe even scream at him, like, why did you take so long to find me? But it's like the wind gets knocked out of him instead, and he quickly pushes his head down and he acts like he doesn't see his dad. Because just like him, just like Jung,
he's in a
his
jumpsuit
dad
too.
is standing there wearing a blue tracksuit.
Oh my god.
Inside the giant compound, in the
Like the
brother's
kid who
house,
saw
in
his
the very
brother.
back, away from the stench of dead people, there's the director's office, the man who runs it, the man who makes money from the government by taking people in, the front man, if you will, the game maker. When you open the door to the office, you see, just like Squid Game, a giant vault. So in the show, the giant vault is this clear, see-through piggy bank that drops down from the ceiling, filling with tens of millions of dollars in cash. But at Brother's home, it's a giant bank vault, like the ones used in banks. It's large. One day it gets torched, and it's pried open by prosecutors who finally decide to investigate. They yank open the door and they find $8 million sitting there, mostly in foreign currency. Welcome to the largest
Foreign
social welfare
currency.
facility in South Korea. Where is all this money coming from? Because it's not just the government.
Wait, $8 million back in the days, 8 million?
Calculated for inflation.
Okay.
Where's this money coming from? Because it's not just coming from the government. Who the hell is running this place?
Yeah, foreign
This
currency.
is part 1 of the real life Squid Games. Part 2 and 3 will cover the adoption scams taking place inside the compound. Yeah, they have like an adoption ring where if the baby is young enough that they took in, they're like, okay, let's have a foreign person adopt this Korean baby.
What?
What happens to all the dead bodies? What happens to when entire family members are trapped in the same torture chamber together and sometimes pit against each other? Also, the process for revenge and retribution that the victims decide to get when they come together, that will all be covered in part 2 and 3. That is it for part 1. Stay safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.
Part 1. Whoa. I love adoption scams. Jesus Christ. I had no idea this is based on something real. Yeah, this is crazy, dude. Wow. This goes deep as hell. I obviously she's giving the respect to it to make it multi-part also because like it's such a long story. And she said she had somebody go out to like I guess Korea, I assume, to meet with the survivors and stuff. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Squid Game is way less brutal than the real life thing. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm like stunned, dude. How have I never heard of this? How have none of us heard of this before? This has been swept up like better than fucking Tiananmen Square, dude. Like Jesus Christ. Very interesting. All right, man. I will definitely watch part 2 and 3 when it drops, dude. But God, dude. Silent chat. Yeah, I know what that means, dude. Fucking hell. All right, man. Shit. You want to watch another one? You guys want to watch another one? Group watch? Yeah. We can watch another one. I'm saving the Yandere one. Do I want a lighthearted vid? No, I want to keep it not lighthearted. No, we're not watching Ratatouille. Sure? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, there's the Yandere one, the Japanese Yandere girl, but I'm not watching that one because I know I don't have the I remember following that case when it happened. And River, thank you for the follow. Welcome to New York City. Watch Ratatouille. Oh, Ratatouille? I know about Ratatouille, actually. The knockoff? I actually know about Ratatouille. That's weird. I know too much about that case, and like when it happened, the big argument was like, no, like you can't simp over her, like she stabbed that guy, blah blah blah, and everyone was like, nah, she's cute, bro. Like I wish she would stab me, and I know I don't have the emotional maturity to be like, oh, she's bad. I'm gonna be like, yo, she's bad. I know myself too well. All right, guys.